I speak these words with divine authority, knowing that every word is a seed, and I now plant the seed of abundance, wealth, and divine increase in the fertile soil of spirit. There is an exact spiritual formula, a divine blueprint that unlocks the door to what the world calls luck, but what I know is divine right timing and law of expectancy. I now align myself with that formula. I do not chase wealth, I become a magnet to it. I know there is no competition on the spiritual plane. What is mine cannot be taken from me, and what is meant for me comes swiftly and surely under grace in perfect ways. The lottery win I seek is not chance, it is already mine in the invisible, waiting to appear. I claim it with full faith. I say boldly, I am in alignment with the winning vibration. I am the perfect channel for financial miracles. I am the exact match to the winning frequency. I receive large, unexpected sums of money from divine source. This is not just about numbers on a ticket. This is a spiritual demonstration of faith. I do not doubt. I do not waver. I speak the end from the beginning. I declare the win before I see it, for it is by faith, not sight, that mountains move. I let go of fear, doubt, and false beliefs. I now replace them with certainty. I walk in knowing. I walk in divine trust. My words create. My faith manifests. The law of expectancy is working in my favor. I expect miracles. I expect divine surprises. I expect sudden wealth, because I have declared it, believed it, and now I am ready to receive it. I see myself celebrating. I see the numbers match. I see my bank account overflow, and because I see it within, I will surely see it without. I now call forth the exact combination of events, numbers, people, and energy that bring the jackpot to me. I don't need to know how. It is not my work to figure it out. It is Spirit's job to deliver. My only work is belief, alignment, and speech. Faith without works is dead, and the work of the spiritual person is to speak life, speak wealth, and speak victory. I keep my words in alignment with divine law. I never say I hope, I say it is done. I never say maybe, I say I receive now. I never ask from lack, I declare from abundance, and so I say I am the winner. I am the vibration of wealth. I am a vessel of divine financial flow. I am chosen for this miracle. I am in perfect harmony with the winning result. This is the exact formula: clarity of desire, purity of thought, faith in spirit, spoken word in power, and unwavering expectation. And I now activate it. Nothing can stop the flow that is already mine. The lottery win is just a symbol, a sign of divine supply made visible. I receive it joyfully, and I share it generously, for I know that circulation is part of the formula. I do not hoard, I flow, and in that flow more comes to me. Under grace, in perfect ways, by divine right timing, I now receive what is already mine. It is done, it is done, it is done. Amen, and so it is. The power of the spoken word is the cornerstone of every spiritual demonstration. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that our words are not mere vibrations passing through air. They are divine decrees, loaded with life force, commanding the invisible realm into form. When one speaks with intention, aligned with faith, the universe listens and responds. It is not superstition, it is spiritual law. The same way gravity cannot be turned off, the law of the spoken word cannot be voided. It is always working for us or against us. That's why we must choose our words with absolute precision, especially when manifesting something as specific and powerful as a lottery win. When a person says, "I never win," they seal that result. When someone speaks words of doubt, fear, or sarcasm, they are unknowingly declaring their lack. The universe is impersonal. It doesn't judge what you say, it simply reflects it back. That is why the spoken word must be infused with faith, certainty, and joy. You do not speak about what is happening, you speak into what you want to happen. That is spiritual mastery. You become the author of your own result. In this formula, you no longer plead, hope, or wait. You declare. And in that declaration, the unseen begins to mold itself into the seen. "Let there be light" was not a request, it was a command. And your words must carry that same certainty. When you say, "I am the lottery winner," you are not lying to yourself. You are proclaiming what is already true in the invisible realm. That win already exists on the spiritual plane. It is done. Your work is to speak until your vibration matches the reality already created for you. Each time you say, "I am the winning frequency," you bring yourself into harmony with the manifestation. Each time you affirm, "Divine substance flows to me in avalanches of abundance," you shift your inner state to one of reception. The spoken word is the bridge between imagination and realization. It draws out from the formless into form. But the word must be spoken from a place of authority, not desperation. You cannot beg the universe to make you a winner. You must affirm that you already are, and hold fast to that claim. Your voice carries spiritual electricity. The moment you speak with belief, you charge the atmosphere around you with the creative energy of faith. Faith and fear cannot coexist in the same statement. So when you speak your lottery win aloud, let it be from the vibration of already having it, not from the desire for it, but from the knowing of it. That is how the spiritual formula begins, not in emotion, not in action, but in the vibration and direction of the word. Speak often, but do not babble. Speak clearly. Speak specifically. Let your words be arrows aimed at a clear target. I am so grateful I now hold the winning lottery ticket. Divine intelligence has perfectly orchestrated it. I am aligned with wealth. I receive it now. This is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual alignment. You are now speaking from your highest self, the one who already has what you're asking for. And yet words alone are not enough if they are not backed by feeling. You must feel the truth of what you speak. Feel it as if it were already real. That is when the words begin to move mountains. That is when the spiritual gears begin to turn. The universe is not reacting to your voice, it is responding to your vibration behind the voice. If you speak from doubt, it will echo doubt. If you speak from power, it will echo power. Your speech becomes sacred when you use it to create, not complain. When you declare that money is chasing you down, that the right numbers are divinely selected for you, that your hands are guided by infinite wisdom, those words begin to reshape the matrix around you. The spiritual formula becomes activated through consistency. It's not about shouting louder or repeating endlessly. It's about speaking with conviction again and again, until your subconscious accepts it as truth. In Florence Scovel Shinn's world, every word was a wand, every phrase a spiritual seed, and just like a farmer must plant and trust the process before the harvest comes, so must you speak and know that manifestation is on its way. There is no need to ask spirit over and over again. Speak once, believe always, and keep your vibration clean. This is where faith begins to take over. After all, once you have spoken your desire into law, your next responsibility is to trust it is already done. You're not looking for confirmation outside, you are standing in the knowing within, and so the spiritual formula moves forward. After the word is spoken, it must be housed in faith. Faith is the backbone of all spiritual manifestation. Without it, the words lose their power. With it, the words become magnetic fields, drawing in everything necessary to fulfill what was spoken. The word spoken in faith becomes a command in the language of the universe, and that command never returns void. It accomplishes what it was sent out to do. The moment you speak your truth with unwavering faith, the divine blueprint is activated, and your win is already unfolding behind the scenes. Faith is the invisible backbone of manifestation. It is the current that carries the spoken word from the unseen to the seen. Without faith, the word has no ground to take root. It floats unanchored, easily blown away by doubt, delay, or fear. But when the word is backed by faith, even the most impossible thing becomes inevitable. That is the difference between idle wishing and divine creation. The spiritual formula demands more than saying the right affirmations. It demands believing them even when the outer world gives no sign. That is where true power lies. The lottery win is not a prize that comes to the one who needs it the most. It comes to the one who knows it the most. Need does not manifest, knowing does. You must believe before there is any proof. That is the spiritual law. You must see it within before you ever see it in your hands. Faith makes it real now, not later. Faith doesn't say, maybe someday I'll win. Faith says it is already done. I have it now. And this is not delusion. It is divine alignment. So when you speak the winning words, I am the chosen one. The lottery is mine by divine right. You must let those words be planted in the soil of absolute belief. You must water them daily with inner knowing. And most of all, you must not dig them up with doubt. If you speak faith in the morning and speak fear in the evening, you cancel your own creation. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the spiritual person must be as unwavering as a soldier on a battlefield, steady, focused, and unshaken by appearances. You do not walk by what the world shows you. You walk by what the Spirit knows. Your circumstances may say you have no money. Your bank account may show a negative balance. But your faith is not in numbers. Your faith is in the divine substance that undergirds all numbers. Your faith is in the unseen realm where everything already exists. You must feel wealth in the bones before you ever feel it in your wallet. You must become rich in consciousness before the world reflects it. Faith does not come from effort. It is not something you force. It is something you choose. You choose to believe, even when it looks like nothing is happening. You choose to believe, especially when things seem to be going in the opposite direction. Because in the world of spirit, delay is not denial. In fact, it often means the win is being perfectly prepared for your greatest benefit. You do not rush spirit. You align with it. The moment you choose faith, a new energy starts to build. It's subtle at first, but soon you begin to feel it. There is a calmness, a certainty, a shift in how you carry yourself. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. You are no longer chasing. You are attracting. And that shift is what separates the manifester from the wanderer. Faith turns your lottery ticket from paper into prophecy. Let no one shake your faith, not the news, not statistics, not logic. Those belong to the world of reason, and reason is not the ruler of miracles. Miracles flow through belief, not evidence. The spiritual formula bypasses logic because it draws from higher law. What looks improbable to man is natural to spirit. When you say, "I believe in the impossible," you are not being naive. You are stepping into your divine right to live beyond limitation. Florence said, "Intuition is a spiritual faculty and does not explain but simply points the way." Faith follows that pointing. It doesn't need the full map. It doesn't ask for guarantees. It moves with confidence, knowing that each step is being divinely guided. And this is where the power grows. Because as you walk in faith, the outer world starts to shift. Synchronicities appear. Intuition heightens. The right numbers may appear in dreams, in sudden flashes, or even through quiet nudges. You'll find yourself drawn to buy a ticket on a certain day, at a certain place, without needing to know why. That is Spirit's doing. Faith lets you follow it without questioning. When others ask, "How do you know you're going to win?" you won't have to explain. You'll just say, "Because I already have." And that energy, the energy of already, will do what no strategy ever could. It will align heaven and earth in your favor. Doors will open. Energy will organize itself. And when the time is ripe, what you have believed will be what you hold. Faith does not mean you never have moments of uncertainty. It means that you return again and again to the truth, that what you've asked for is already yours, that the win has already happened in the spiritual realm, and the physical world is simply catching up. You do not pray and then wonder. You speak and then expect. You believe and then prepare. You know, and then you receive. This is the heart of the formula. The spoken word calls it forth. Faith holds it in place, and as you walk in faith, your vibration begins to rise. Because faith is not just a belief, it is a frequency. It emits a signal into the universe that says, "I am ready, I am open, I am aligned." And the universe by law must respond. That response will carry you effortlessly toward the next step in the formula, where timing is no longer your worry, because divine timing is always on time. Once faith has been established, once you've spoken the word and sealed it with unwavering belief, the next piece of the divine formula unfolds in silence, the sacred trust in divine timing. In the world's clock, people are always watching, waiting, rushing. But in the realm of spirit, timing is not measured by minutes or hours. It is orchestrated by perfect harmony. Spirit does not delay, nor does it rush. It moves in flawless rhythm, and what is meant for you can never be late. When you walk by faith, you stop looking at your calendar for evidence. You stop checking the clock to see if your manifestation is on time, because now, you are no longer governed by the ticking of worldly hours. You are aligned with the unfolding of divine order. This order knows exactly when to bring your lottery win into the visible realm. Not a day too early, not a moment too late, but in the instant when your vibration, your consciousness, and your outer conditions meet in perfect alignment. Trusting divine timing is one of the highest spiritual disciplines. It means letting go of the illusion that you are in control of how and when things happen. It means you stop trying to force the manifestation and begin allowing it. You stop checking your ticket with tension and start carrying the energy of certainty, even before the numbers appear. You know it's coming, so there's no need to rush. There's no need to question the process. Spirit is never confused. It knows exactly where your miracle is and when it is meant to arrive. This deep trust creates a field of relaxation around you. You begin to walk lighter. You stop begging. You stop wishing. You start knowing. And in that knowing, you become a magnet to the right timing. The divine mind orchestrates people, places, events, and even numbers to align with your vibration of readiness. It is not just about you saying, "I am ready." It is about you becoming it in feeling, word, and frequency. When you no longer doubt the timing, your energy becomes clear. You emit a signal that says, "I have already received. I am simply waiting for the physical to catch up with my spiritual truth." The moment you say that and truly believe it, anxiety disappears. And what's more powerful than anxiety disappearing is that you begin to detach. And detachment is magnetic. The moment you no longer grip, no longer grasp, no longer stress over when it comes faster, because now you are aligned with the current of spirit, not fighting against it. Florence Scovel Shinn reminded us that man's will is powerless against the will of God. When you demand things on your timeline, you create resistance. You push against what is flowing toward you. But when you surrender the timing and trust the divine plan, you open the way. This is not passive waiting. It is active trust. You go about your day knowing the win is unfolding behind the scenes. You live in joy, not tension. You act in alignment with what you expect to receive. That is power. You can feel when divine timing is preparing to reveal itself. The air begins to shift. You may not see anything change outside yet, but your spirit knows. There is a soft nudge inside, a sense that things are moving, a flicker of inner celebration before anything has happened. That is the whisper of spirit saying, "Get ready. I'm almost there." And your only job is to hold the vibration steady. Do not question. Do not press. Just keep speaking the word, holding the faith, and walking in divine patience. Sometimes the delay you perceive is protection. Spirit sees things you cannot. It knows the exact moment when your win will serve your highest good. Had it come sooner, perhaps you weren't emotionally ready, mentally strong, spiritually steady. Spirit waits until every thread is woven into place, so that your blessing won't be wasted, feared, or lost. And when you realize this, you stop resenting the wait. You start honoring it. Every day you don't win is not proof that it's not working. It is evidence that the miracle is growing, under the surface, in the invisible. And when it's time, it will erupt like a flower blooming through the soil, all at once, effortlessly. And you will say, "Of course it happened this way." Because deep down you always knew it was coming. Your job was never to make it happen. Your job was to stay aligned long enough for Spirit to deliver it. Divine timing is not random. It is calculated with divine precision. It is the sacred pause between your asking and your receiving. It is the moment where your soul is strengthened, your belief is deepened, and your spiritual maturity is forged. Every second of the waiting season is filled with unseen construction. The win is not waiting on chance, it's waiting on your full embodiment of the result. So as you walk forward, let this be your inner stance. I do not chase the win. The win is already mine. It is moving toward me now. I am in the exact vibration for its perfect arrival. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are allowing it. Because in divine timing, the promise is already fulfilled. Your only job now is to hold steady as Spirit aligns the final details. And in the stillness of that trust, you begin to vibrate with the very thing you once longed for. That is where the next part of the formula begins to unfold. Because timing is not separate from energy, and energy must be tuned to match the vision. As the divine timing aligns itself with your inner readiness, something profound begins to unfold within you. A shift not just in thought, but in energy. Because timing alone is never enough. Spirit does not simply drop miracles into a misaligned vessel. You must become the embodiment of that which you desire. You must vibrate on the same frequency as the reality you've already spoken and believed in. The lottery win is not only attracted through words and faith, it is magnetized by your vibration. The vibration is the music your soul plays, and the universe dances to it. The melody must match the manifestation. You cannot hold a vibration of scarcity and expect abundance to pour in. You cannot be entangled in fear, worry, and lack, and still magnetize a miracle of wealth. These two energies are incompatible. The spiritual formula is exact, and this part of it is often overlooked, yet it is essential. You must become emotionally and energetically what you are declaring in words. Every cell of your being must feel like a match to the win you are calling in. You must speak it, believe it, wait with trust, and now you must become it. This means you wake up already feeling like a lottery winner, not because the money has arrived, but because you are tuning into that state now. You carry yourself differently. You move through the world as someone who knows abundance is your natural state. You no longer feel separate from the wealth. It becomes an extension of your vibration. You are no longer desiring from lack. You are claiming from alignment. Florence Scovel Shinn often said that you must act as if you've already received the thing you desire. This is not about pretending in a shallow sense. It's about energetically stepping into the version of you who already has it. When you speak the winning words and believe in divine timing, but continue to vibrate in frustration, you break the circuit. The formula requires coherence. Your thoughts, emotions, actions, and energy must all sing the same song. So ask yourself, what does it feel like to be a millionaire? Not in fantasy, but in emotional truth. What does safety feel like in your body? What does generosity feel like in your heart? What does freedom feel like in your nervous system? That feeling, that is the vibration. And that vibration is the signal the universe responds to. It is like tuning your inner radio to the exact frequency where your win already exists. The moment you match it, manifestation becomes inevitable. This is not about constant positivity or forcing joy. It's about alignment. It's about honest resonance with the energy of already having. You stop praying from desperation and begin thanking from fulfillment. You move from "please let me win" to "thank you that it's already mine." This energy shift is quiet but powerful. It changes everything. The more consistently you hold this vibration, the more synchronicity appears. You notice things differently. You may be drawn to a certain number, a certain place, a specific ticket. You may feel a gentle pull toward a small action, and because you're tuned in, you follow it without overthinking. That is how the wind finds you. You don't need to chase, it's your vibration that brings it in. Holding the vibration means becoming sensitive to when you're off. You'll notice when fear creeps in, when you start worrying about bills or timelines, but instead of spiraling, you realign. You breathe. You speak again. You return to the vibration. It's not about being perfect, it's about staying aware. You are no longer reacting to outer circumstances. You are creating from within. And each time you shift your state back to abundance, you reinforce your magnetic field. People may not understand what you're doing. They may say you're delusional for walking like a winner before you've won. But you won't need to explain. Because what you're doing is living in harmony with spiritual law. You're not waiting for the win to feel worthy. You feel worthy now. And that worthiness summons the win. This is also where your imagination becomes sacred. The mental images you hold feed the vibration. You see yourself with the money. You see yourself blessing others. You see the joy, the freedom, the overflow. And as you feel it, you begin to generate it from within. Emotion is the charge and imagination is the picture. Combined, they activate the vibration that draws the physical outcome to you. You do not become obsessed with watching for results. Instead, you become devoted to maintaining your inner alignment. That's your real work. The rest is handled by divine intelligence. You vibrate, spirit arranges. You stay in harmony, and the physical manifestation will show up when it must. That's why the formula does not demand striving. It demands tuning, and tuning your vibration is not a one-time act. It's a daily practice. You align each morning. You correct course when necessary. You speak the word, feel the outcome, embody the energy. And that is when things begin to move swiftly. Not because you tried harder, but because you finally matched the win with your being. The vibration is not loud. It is subtle, steady, and undeniable. It says, I am already what I desire. It carries peace. It carries joy. It carries quiet certainty. And from that place the path continues. Because vibration is not the final step. It is the gateway to expectation. And expectation, when pure, becomes the gravitational force that makes the invisible seen. As the vibration becomes stable, as your inner world begins to hum with the frequency of already having, you naturally begin to live in a state of divine expectancy. This is the next sacred movement in the spiritual formula, expectation. It is not hope. It is not idle wishing. It is not crossing your fingers and wondering. Expectation is magnetic certainty. It is the invisible knowing that what you have spoken, believed, waited for, and vibrated with is now on its way to you. It is the final inner declaration before the manifestation becomes visible, and it is potent beyond measure. Expectation is the signal that tells the universe you are truly ready, not just in words, not just in energy, but in embodiment. You are now expecting the result as naturally as you expect the sun to rise. You have surrendered the how, the when, and the through whom. Your only focus is holding the gate open so the wind can enter. You are not watching with anxious eyes, you are opening your arms with calm joy, knowing it's already here in form unseen. To expect is to prepare. You don't expect something and then live as if it isn't coming. That's not true expectancy. That's hesitation wrapped in spiritual disguise. Expectation shows itself in the little things, the way you think, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself. You begin to act like the win is part of your normal. You no longer ask, will it happen? You begin to say, it's happening. Even when there's no visible proof, you walk in the vibration of fulfillment. This expectation is not ego-driven. It's not about demanding the universe deliver something because you've said the right affirmations. It is sacred confidence rooted in divine law. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that when the spiritual formula is followed with clean energy, divine right results must appear. Not might, must. That is what expectation leans on. A sense of knowing that the universal law cannot break its own pattern. When you expect the lottery win, not as a fantasy but as a divine demonstration, you begin to attract situations, people, and moments that align with it. You begin to notice numbers more frequently. You feel pulled to certain decisions without logical explanation. You hear inner whispers guiding you. These aren't coincidences, they are echoes of your expectancy pulling form out of the formless. The invisible begins to reveal itself when you live as though it is already real. This is where many falter. They say they believe, they try to hold the vibration, but they don't truly expect. They speak the right words, but they are still mentally bracing for disappointment. That inner resistance sends mixed signals, and the universe does not know whether to deliver or delay. Expectation clears the channel. It tells spirit, I am open, I am prepared, I am ready to receive this fully. And spirit in perfect response begins to move faster, closer, stronger. Expecting does not mean obsessing. It means living with ease. There is a difference. Obsession is rooted in fear, fear that it might not come. Expectation is rooted in peace, knowing that it will. So you do not need to constantly look for signs. You do not need to worry whether today is the day. You know the delivery is already dispatched. It will arrive. Your work is to stay receptive. You don't expect rain and then leave the house without an umbrella. In the same way, you don't expect a financial miracle and then speak words of doubt. You begin to think like a winner, make decisions like a receiver, prepare like a vessel that's about to overflow. You don't plan from poverty anymore. You plan from abundance. Even if your outer situation hasn't changed yet, your expectation reshapes the inner landscape until the outer must follow. And if any resistance tries to rise, fear, doubt, or impatience, you bring it back to expectancy. You remind yourself of what is true in the invisible realm. You affirm, I am now aligned with divine riches. My win is done. I expect it. I prepare for it. I celebrate it in advance. This pre-celebration is not fantasy. It's prophetic. It sends a frequency into the universe that cannot be ignored. It says, look at this one, they already know it's theirs. And what you know must show. Expectation also influences the quality of your imagination. You begin to see yourself handling the win with grace. You visualize how it improves not only your life but the lives of others. You dream in detail, not just about numbers on a ticket, but about what you will do with the wealth that flows to you. And each of those images fuels the vibration even more. The most powerful part of expectation is that it softens you. It removes the edge of desperation and replaces it with divine certainty. You become calm. You smile more. You no longer need to explain or prove anything. Your inner peace becomes a signpost to the universe. This one already believes. And spirit, which is always seeking to deliver to those who are open, finds a clear path to you. You do not need to force anything. You simply stand in expectancy, speak with alignment, and stay present. Because in the language of spirit, expectancy is not a passive stance, it is an energetic invitation. It says, I trust, I know, and I now allow. And as you remain in that state, the invisible moves toward the visible and the manifestation begins to bloom. What's next in the formula unfolds naturally, because once you expect, you start seeing, and what you see in the inner world becomes undeniable in the outer one. As the current of expectancy flows steadily through you, something begins to shift deeper within. The images you once held faintly now grow vivid. What once felt distant now feels near. Your inner world becomes rich with detail, with vision, with clarity. This is the sacred work of imagination, the unseen hand that paints your reality before it arrives. It is not a daydream. It is not a child's escape. It is the spiritual blueprint from which your future is formed. And now, as you live in faith, as you expect your miracle, imagination must become your most trusted ally. Spirit always creates in the invisible before it manifests in the visible. And the clearer your mental image, the stronger the vibration you emit. You are not trying to force the win into being. You are seeing it as already done. You are impressing your subconscious mind with pictures that align with your spoken word and with your vibration of already having. When imagination and faith walk hand in hand, miracles become inevitable. You begin to see yourself holding the ticket, not just in your hand, but in your heart. You see your reaction. You feel the tears. You feel the joy rise through your body like electricity. You hear your own voice whisper, "It happened. It's real." And in those moments, your subconscious cannot tell the difference between what is seen and what is vividly imagined. It begins to accept this new reality as truth. And once the subconscious accepts it, the outer world must follow. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that your word is your wand, but your imagination is your inner architect. It builds the framework upon which your words take form. You must not only speak your desire, you must see it. Not vaguely, not once or twice, but with loving devotion. You return to it daily, like tending a sacred altar within your own mind. This is not labor. It is joy. You are engaging in holy creation. There is a divine energy that stirs when you immerse yourself in the vision. When you close your eyes and walk through your future home, touch your future bank balance, feel the paper of the ticket between your fingers, your vibration lifts into harmony with what already exists on the spiritual plane. You are not asking for it anymore. You are living it. You are rehearsing the result before the performance ever takes place, and in doing so you collapse time. You draw the win closer. What matters most is the emotion behind the vision. It's not just about what you see, it's about how deeply you feel it. The joy, the relief, the sense of expansion, those are the frequencies that do the work. If your imagination is flat, your vibration will be dull. But when your imagination is rich, your emotional field becomes magnetic. You begin to radiate the signal of fulfillment, and the universe responds not to empty longing, but to emotional certainty. Imagination must be intentional. You must choose what images to feed your mind. If you let the world decide, it will fill you with pictures of lack, struggle, and fear. But when you consciously create your mental images, you are reclaiming the power to direct your reality. You are saying, "I choose to see abundance. I choose to see wealth. I choose to see my victory." You may begin to notice that the more you imagine your win, the more natural it feels. At first, your mind may resist. It may say, "This is too good to be true." But with repetition, the resistance fades. Your nervous system adjusts. Your body begins to relax into the idea of wealth. And soon it doesn't feel like a fantasy. It feels like a memory waiting to resurface. That is the tipping point. When the vision becomes normal, reality catches up. Use every moment to engage your imagination. While walking, while resting, before sleep, let your mind wander through the reality you are calling in. Visualize yourself blessing others, giving generously, creating comfort and joy not just for yourself but for everyone around you. Feel how it expands your heart. Let it become your internal habit. This is not escapism. This is alignment. Because when your inner vision is more compelling than your current reality must shift to meet the vision. The law is precise. Energy follows thought, and reality follows energy. You are not waiting for proof. You are creating the proof within. And just as a seed planted in rich soil must grow, so too must your inner picture bear fruit. You don't need to share your vision with others. It's sacred. Let it be your private sanctuary. Protect it from doubt, from mockery, from casual dismissal. What you see is holy. What you feel is real. Let no one take that from you. When doubt tries to enter, close your eyes and return. Return to the feeling. Return to the picture. Return to the moment where it is already done. This is how the spiritual formula deepens. The spoken word sets it in motion. Faith anchors it. Trust in divine timing keeps it pure. Vibration holds it. Expectation invites it. And imagination gives it form. You are now not only believing in the win, you are living it in the unseen. And what you live in the unseen cannot help but appear in the seen. The law never fails. You are no longer just hoping for the win. You are seeing it, feeling it, walking in it. And now as you dwell richly in the vision, something begins to rise within you. The feeling of certainty, the dissolution of doubt. You begin to lose the habit of fear. You begin to walk with the boldness of someone who already possesses it. This is the ground upon which the next part of the formula will rest, because now there is no space left for fear, only receiving. When the inner vision becomes so vivid, so emotionally charged, and so natural that it feels like memory, fear no longer has a place to stand. It dissolves, not because you pushed it away, but because it has nowhere left to live. The vibration of certainty, of divine expectation and full embodiment, leaves no oxygen for fear to breathe. This is the part of the spiritual formula where you become unshakable. Doubt used to come knocking often, whispering what ifs and planting quiet anxiety. But now your house is filled with such faith, such trust, such inner conviction, that fear passes by. It knows there is no longer an open door. To manifest something as vast and specific as a lottery win, you must be bold enough to fully close the door on fear. You must look it in the eye and say, "You no longer have authority here." You do not banish fear through aggression or force. You neutralize it by replacing it with something stronger. The feeling of having already received is more powerful than the feeling of what if it never happens. The moment you choose the first, the second cannot hold its shape. Fear collapses when faith is embodied. There is a sacred strength that rises when fear is no longer entertained. You no longer bargain with your vision. You no longer second-guess your intuition. You are not looking for outside confirmation to feel safe. Your safety now comes from within, from divine alignment, from spiritual knowing, from the law itself. You begin to walk with the quiet confidence of someone who has already been chosen, already been handed the ticket, already received the overflow. That confidence is not loud, it's radiant. It speaks before you open your mouth. It moves through your posture, your tone, your presence. This is the power of fearlessness. You are not fearless because you never feel fear. You are fearless because you no longer believe in it. You recognize it as noise, as illusion, as a habit of the mind that no longer fits your frequency. You might hear it occasionally, but you no longer obey. And as you ignore its voice, it grows weaker until it disappears. In its place is a stillness, a calm, a knowing that nothing can shake. Florence Scovel Shinn spoke often of the destructive power of fear, not just emotionally, but vibrationally. Fear interferes with manifestation because it blocks the flow of spiritual energy. It's a spiritual static that distorts the signal. You could be speaking the right words, holding a vision, vibrating high, but if fear is secretly whispering in your ear, it can slow the arrival of your demonstration. That's why this part of the formula is so crucial. You must choose, fully and completely, to withdraw your energy from fear. There may have been a time when fear felt necessary, when it felt like a protector, a guardrail against disappointment. But you no longer live in that state. You no longer brace for impact. You no longer play small, so failure hurts less. You are spiritually mature now. You understand that fear never protected you. It only delayed your good. It dimmed your light. It made you question what spirit already declared yours. And now you are done with it. Instead, you are aligned with love, with faith, with divine truth. You understand that what is meant for you is already complete in the unseen, and fear cannot erase it. It can only delay your arrival at it. But now you move faster, clearer, bolder. You speak louder with certainty and softer with peace. You take inspired action without second guessing. You follow nudges without hesitation. You trust your inner guidance as sacred, and in that trust, the universe bends to meet you. There is a beautiful ease that comes when you are no longer caught in inner resistance. Your mind becomes still, your emotions become balanced, your body relaxes. You are no longer bouncing between belief and doubt. You are steady, you are receptive, you are ready, and this readiness is not frantic or desperate. It is calm and magnetic. You are not trying to prove your worth to spirit, you are accepting it. You are not asking for permission, you are stepping into divine inheritance. Fear used to make you think you had to earn the miracle, that you had to suffer or strive or sacrifice first. But now you know the truth. What is yours is already yours. The wind does not come through deserving. It comes through alignment. And fear is the one thing that always breaks alignment, so you release it completely. You do not argue with it. You do not wrestle with it. You simply stop giving it your attention. And what you stop feeding must fade. Every time fear tries to enter, you return to the vision. You return to the feeling. You return to your truth. You speak your word again, not from panic, but from power. You remind yourself, this is already done in spirit. It is done. It is done. It is done. And with each repetition, your field grows stronger. You become more anchored, more radiant, more unshakable. This is the field where miracles land, not the field of fear, but the field of full surrender and full faith. You no longer need proof to feel safe. You are the proof. You are the vibration. You are the channel. And in that, fear has nothing left to take. You have already claimed the win. You have already become the version of yourself that receives it. And now what's left is simply allowing, not chasing, not forcing, just opening and receiving. Because once fear is removed, the gate to your miracle stands wide open. Once fear is gone and the gateway stands wide open, what remains is the sacred art of receiving. It sounds simple, but for many, receiving is the most difficult part, not because the blessing is withheld, but because we often struggle to feel worthy of it. We have been conditioned to believe that great good must be earned with struggle, that abundance must be justified, that miracles must arrive only after we've proven ourselves. But this is not the divine law. The law is not barter. The law is alignment. When you truly understand this, you begin to approach your manifestation with an open heart. You stop asking, when will it come, and start preparing as if it's already arrived. This is the energy of receiving, not hoping, not begging, not questioning, but embracing. You become an empty vessel, ready to be filled. You don't have to grasp or cling or control. You simply allow. This is the point where you surrender the how. You no longer micromanage the outcome. You don't need to know the exact method through which your lottery win will arrive. You don't need to orchestrate every detail. Your job is not to figure out the mechanics. Your job is to stay in alignment with the result, to be open, to remain trusting, to feel your way forward with peace. The universe already knows the path. Your vibration is your navigation. So you enter this state of sacred receptivity, not passive but powerful. You begin to walk through life as someone who knows, not thinks, not wonders, knows that knowing begins to reflect in your actions. You make decisions from abundance, not fear. You bless others, even while your manifestation is unfolding. You circulate money, joy, kindness, and gratitude as if you are already wealthy, because spiritually you are. Florence Scovel Shinn often said, "Man must prepare for the thing he has asked for, even though there is no sign of it in sight." This is one of the most powerful truths in the formula. You do not wait for the evidence. You become the evidence. If you've asked for wealth, begin to carry yourself as someone wealthy in spirit, generous, grateful, grounded. If you've asked for a win, walk in the confidence of one who is already victorious. Every gesture of preparation becomes a magnet. You align your life to the vibration of the outcome. You clean the space where the miracle will land. You stretch your capacity to receive by opening your heart to joy. You release guilt, shame, and the belief that you're asking for too much. You no longer shrink your desires to make others comfortable. You own the vastness of your good, because your source is infinite. When you are in receiving mode, signs begin to appear, subtle at first, and then undeniable. Numbers align, conversations shift. You may overhear something that sparks divine confirmation. Synchronicities grow, but you are no longer desperate for signs. You see them with joy, not dependence. You've moved beyond needing reassurance. Your energy is now one of deep inner readiness. Receiving also means becoming still enough to listen. Spirit whispers. It rarely shouts. When your mind is quiet and your heart is soft, you begin to hear divine instruction. You'll be nudged to do things that may seem unrelated. A phone call, a trip, a sudden inspired action. Follow them. These are not accidents. These are threads in the divine tapestry, guiding you toward your demonstration. Receiving is not always inactive. Sometimes it looks like obedience. Sometimes it looks like bold action, but it always flows from intuition, not panic. There is no greater display of trust than being willing to receive. It is an act of humility, of surrender, of divine confidence. You no longer need to earn. You are ready to accept. You let go of resistance. You let go of comparison. You stop questioning whether you're worthy. You decide that your worth is God-given and eternal. You receive not because you qualify, but because you align. You receive because you are ready to be the vessel of a bigger truth. And when the energy of receiving fills you, everything around you softens. People treat you differently. Money flows to you in unexpected ways. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop pushing and start allowing. The wind begins to move closer, not because you're striving, but because you've created a landing space for it in your heart. In this part of the formula, gratitude becomes your default state. You are thankful before the win. You are thankful even when it's invisible. You don't wait for the blessing to arrive to say thank you. You give thanks as if it already has, because in the spiritual realm it has. And as you give thanks, your heart expands. That expansion becomes the signal. That signal becomes the channel. That channel becomes the bridge between the unseen and the seen. You are now a clear, open, joyful space for abundance to land. You are no longer clogged by fear or doubt or neediness. You are no longer sending mixed signals to the universe. Your field is steady. Your spirit is receptive. Your words are in agreement. Your vision is strong. And in this state there is nothing left to do but receive, and trust that the next movement in the formula will carry you even deeper into alignment with the wind that is already yours. And as you remain open and deeply receptive, the divine current begins to carry you forward, not in frantic waves, but in quiet, powerful momentum. This is the point where spiritual action begins to unfold with clarity and ease. You no longer act out of pressure or fear. You move from a place of inspiration. You hear the still small voice within and you obey, not to make something happen, but because something is already happening. You are in the flow, and this flow leads you to take steps that are perfectly timed, divinely guided, and aligned with the outcome you've already claimed. You may be guided to buy a ticket on a certain day, at a certain time, in a certain store. You may hear a phrase, a number, a name, and feel a pull so strong it overrides logic. Follow that pull. The divine doesn't always explain, but it always directs. When you are in spiritual alignment, you no longer require reason. You trust vibration over explanation. This is the wisdom that moves mountains and splits seas. It does not always make sense to the mind, but the heart knows, and the one who follows the knowing without hesitation becomes unstoppable. In this space, even your smallest actions become sacred. You are not going through the motions. You are co-creating with the infinite. Every movement, every thought, every word carries power, because it is aligned with your higher calling. You stop forcing. You stop planning every detail. Instead, you allow divine orchestration to take the lead. And what unfolds from that surrender is nothing short of miraculous. Things happen faster. Doors open wider. People, places, and opportunities show up that you could never have calculated. But they don't come because you chased them. They come because you trusted your path enough to follow the energy. This is the beauty of inspired action. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the right things at the right time with the right energy. You could spend years trying to make something happen through willpower, but when spirit leads, it happens in moments. And those moments are magnetic. When you act from divine guidance, you are not hoping for success, you are walking straight into it. There is no resistance in your energy, no inner debate, just a calm certainty that your obedience is opening gates. You may find yourself taking steps you once avoided, saying yes to nudges you used to ignore. You trust now, because you've witnessed what happens when you obey without fear. Florence Scovel Shinn often said, "Intuition is a spiritual faculty and does not explain, but simply points the way." This is the heart of this part of the formula. You don't argue with the signal. You don't wait for outside approval. You move when spirit moves you, and in that movement, the miracle unfolds. Sometimes the action is internal, a choice to forgive, a decision to let go, a moment of deep release. These are just as sacred as any external step. Sometimes the path to the win requires you to clear out what no longer serves. Sometimes spirit will ask you to prune before it pours, not to punish, but to prepare. So you begin to see every action, whether physical, emotional, or energetic, as a key that unlocks the next level of your manifestation. You no longer judge what you're led to do. You no longer compare your path to another's. You understand that your steps are perfectly tailored to the version of yourself who is already receiving. As you keep moving with obedience and trust, your confidence grows. You are no longer surprised by divine timing. You are in rhythm with it. You don't question the pauses. You don't panic in the silence. You know that the action you take today ripples forward into outcomes you may not yet see. You know that every step, no matter how small, becomes part of the energetic structure that holds your miracle in place. And so you walk with purpose, not with rush, but with reverence. Not with doubt, but with devotion. Your action is no longer just for you. You begin to realize that your demonstration is a testimony. Your win becomes a sign to others that the spiritual laws are real, that trust works, that intuition is sacred, that miracles are natural. You understand that by taking aligned action, you are not just moving yourself, you are moving energy for others. You are becoming a channel through which divine order expresses itself in the world. And so you bless every action. You bless the ticket. You bless the moment you're led to buy it. You bless the pen you use, the hand that hands it to you, the numbers you feel drawn toward. Every part of the experience becomes part of your prayer. You infuse the entire process with expectancy and peace. You are no longer watching to see if it works. You know it already has. Because by the time you take the action, the outcome is already complete in spirit. You are simply matching your outer steps with your inner knowing. This is alignment. This is spiritual precision. This is the divine formula in motion. Not just thinking, not just feeling, but embodying the truth through your choices, your movement, your yes. You become the bridge between the invisible and the visible. And as you continue to follow each inspired prompt, you begin to feel the energy rising. Something is building, something is near, but you do not chase it. You keep moving with grace, knowing that the next phase will unfold exactly when it's meant to. Not a moment too soon, and never too late. And then, after the surrender, the alignment, the letting go, the obedience and the trust, you reach the sacred space of knowing. Not the knowing of the intellect, but the knowing of the spirit, the kind that cannot be shaken by circumstance or appearances. It is deep, it is unwavering, and it is final. You are no longer trying to believe. You have become belief itself. You are no longer waiting. You are already there in consciousness. And in divine law, consciousness is the only true reality. You feel it in your body before you see it in your bank account. You hear it in your breath. In the rhythm of your days, there is no more doubt. The win is not coming. It is already yours, and the outer world must conform. It cannot do otherwise, because spiritual law is exact. It is no respecter of effort, struggle, or force. It only responds to the state you inhabit. And now, you inhabit certainty. There is no anxiety left in your waiting. You are not restless. You are not checking and rechecking. You are living as the person who has already received. Your identity has shifted. The desire is no longer a distant hope. It is part of who you are. You think from it. You act from it. You speak from it. You walk through your world with the quiet dignity of one who knows. That is the true manifestation, not the moment the numbers match, but the moment you match. The outer is just the echo. The real transformation happened within. Others may not see it yet, but you do. And that's enough. You do not need applause, validation, or proof. You are not moved by what hasn't happened. You are moved only by truth. And the truth is that what you've declared, visualized, affirmed, and aligned with is already yours in the invisible. That is not wishful thinking. It is spiritual fact. And the facts of spirit override every fact of the material world. Even if circumstances try to whisper otherwise, you do not engage. You do not argue with illusions. You bless them and keep walking. You no longer battle what is not true. You know now that your energy is currency, and you spend it only where it multiplies. You bless the delay, if it comes. You bless the silence. You bless every seeming obstacle, knowing that all of it is part of your good. There are no blocks on your path, only redirections toward better. There is no such thing as failure, only feedback. You are not intimidated by time or logic. You have moved beyond both. This level of certainty does not come from arrogance. It comes from alignment. It is not loud. It does not need to convince. It simply is. And when you live from this frequency, life begins to mirror it back. Randomness falls away. Patterns form. Everything around you responds to the internal shift. People treat you differently. Opportunities find you. You become magnetic. Not because you're forcing attraction, but because you are attraction. You are now the embodiment of the lottery. Win. You carry it in your energy. You wear it in your peace. And you continue to live not in waiting, but in celebration. Even before the winning numbers are called, your soul is already rejoicing. You walk in that vibration. You speak with that tone. Your eyes shine with that vision. It is not a fantasy. It is your chosen frequency. Florence Scovel Shinn taught, faith knows it has already received and acts accordingly. You are no longer asking if you will win. You are now asking how you will serve once it arrives. You are already making room for it in your life. You are already shaping your world around it. The vibration of receiving is no longer a temporary practice. It is your natural state. You may smile to yourself when the ticket is purchased, not with nervousness, but with deep reverence. You may bless it and place it somewhere special, not as a superstition, but as a symbol of the good that is already flowing to you. You may wake up in the morning and feel the vibration of wealth around you, not in the form of cash, but in the form of absolute spiritual confidence. That is the true treasure. And as the days pass, your frequency does not dip. You do not waver. You stay elevated, not through effort but through ease. You lean back into your divine identity and allow the physical to catch up. And when the moment comes, and it will, you will recognize it not with surprise but with knowing. It will feel like something already lived, a sacred déjà vu. The outside world will finally echo what you've been hearing in spirit all along, because now you understand the final part of the spiritual formula. It is done. Not it will be, not maybe someday. It is done. And when you know that, really know that, the universe cannot help but deliver. Not because you begged, not because you proved yourself, but because you became one with it. This is the place of arrival, not the end but the beautiful moment where desire and demonstration kiss, where vision becomes matter, where spirit moves into form, and the only thing left to say is thank you. And so you stand at the threshold of your demonstration, not with trembling hands, but with a quiet, unwavering power in your spirit. You are no longer the seeker. You are the vessel. You are no longer asking the universe to favor you. You are walking as one chosen by divine law to reveal its glory. Every step you've taken, every word spoken in faith, every thought reprogrammed, every moment surrendered, has woven itself into the fabric of your manifestation. You understand now that the lottery was never just about money. It was the symbol spirit used to awaken you, to refine your faith, to pull you into alignment with the absolute truth of who you are, a divine creator with access to infinite supply. You didn't just learn how to win a number, you remembered how to win in life. You returned to the throne of your own power, governed by spiritual law, held by divine love, and moved by intuition more precise than any calculation. So now you bless it all. The journey, the inner war, the releasing, the rebuilding, because it led you here, to this still point where heaven touches earth, where knowing becomes receiving, where you are no longer hoping, you are living the outcome. It's not luck, it's not chance, it's divine order. It's the law, and the law never fails. Your win is sealed. Your name is already written on the outcome. You walk forward now, not in search, but in celebration. For the door is open, the path is clear, and the gift is yours. And you receive it with grace, with gratitude, and with full awareness that your win was never outside of you. It was within you all along. And so it is.